Welcome in, everybody. Welcome to episode 5 of Catan. We talk about content creation, which is wild to me that we're already at 5. I feel like we just started this. And this morning, we are so lucky to have the Daily Dad with us. So for the viewers, my name is Ophi, and my co-host here, FunkyHQ. We are going to be playing a game of Catan with our special guest, the Daily Dad. If you'd like to introduce yourself.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Sorry, I'm a little hoarse, a little pony in my voice. I was yelling during playing Apex yesterday. The games didn't go as hot as you would normally want them. Very few W's in the category of ranking up. So yeah, Daily Dad. I've been doing this for technically a little under a year. We're about 9 or 10 months. Just really, like my mom says, how long do you plan on flying by the seat of your pants? And I said, until it doesn't work anymore. So glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. And I have to say, one of the things that stuck out to me, and I have to say it now.
Okay.
One of the things that stuck out to me about your content is your audio and your voice. You sound like you've been working in like a professional radio studio like your entire life.
I can attribute that to Harris Heller. So
yeah,
a lot. If you guys don't know, he used to do a lot of I don't even know if they're tips and tricks, but really tutorials. Really, I would break it down to them being tutorials, and he really helps you kind of like get a base in your videos of how to set things up, just not visual but audio wise, and then you kind of tweak them as you go from there. A lot of people, it's funny you say that because a lot of people will come in and be like, you sound like you should be on the radio. And I was like, yeah, because I got a face for one. and there's like that little delay. And they're like, oh, you're kind of a funny person. I'm like, I try.
Yeah, I remember watching, because I found you on TikTok initially. And I was like, does he work in radio? Because he's got like a really good voice for it, and just the way that you speak and the way that you carry yourself. I was like, man, I feel like he's on radio. And then I learned that you're actually a firefighter.
Yeah, no.
Which is so cool.
Yeah, zero visual audio. I had no social media presence, like a big old zero. I had no idea how to use TikTok, Twitter. I had a Facebook that I didn't even use. My wife, she kind of posts the pictures and stuff like that. I had no idea how to do any of this. Like literally zero. It probably was actually in the negative because being 40 years old, it takes a lot longer to try and learn how to do all of it.
Well, I'm glad that you took the leap and have learned how to do all of the Catan stuff. And it looks like
it's a ton of fun.
My Catan game didn't update.
Oh, there's an update?
Well, no, my my
like,
screen didn't update the way it needed to. So
gotcha.
I'm gonna do that. So could you describe your content in like 1 to 2 sentences or more if you'd like?
Yeah, so inclusion, and a lot of people say community, but I think just inclusion is the big one. I mean, I could say I like hermit up in that word in general. And if you want me to elaborate, I can, but I would say just inclusion. People feeling like they have a place to be able to go and not worry about issues in the actual, like we were saying before this, IRL. Not worry about in real life stuff. Be able to play video games with friends, meet new people, and not feel like you got to be or act a different way than who you actually are.
And how long?
That's a great way to put it. For sure.
Yeah. I feel like they don't have like, couch co-ops anymore. So to have, and the ability to have friends over to your house and play video games and talk about your day and because I use the channel and playing video games kind of as a catalyst. And I treat it kind of like what we're doing here is there are a lot of people that watch the Daily Dad, and I make sure that because a lot of those people are at work, that they have a very good audio like just to listen to, because they can't watch it. They're doing construction work, they're studying, they're doing this, they're doing that, but everyone listens to stuff in their ears while they're walking down the street, or going to class, or on the commute to work. So it's actually really, really nice in that factor, and that kind of changed the layout or landscape for how my content creation has gone.
How often do you have technical issues during your stream? Because I have them once every single stream.
So I actually talked about this yesterday. So I always do like a minimum half an hour talking with what we call as the neighborhood. That's what we call our community, because a lot of people do like like a family thing. They say fam or whatever, army, stuff like that. But like when I was down here, and I'd been thinking about it for months, like I need to come up with a name for our community and stuff like that. And I'm like, wait, the neighborhood. I'm like, that makes total sense, because we're all strangers and we meet each other. But then once we get to know each other, it just kind of snowballs into this big neighborhood. And people were like, oh my God, that's absolutely on par with what you have going on. I'm like, stop it. Stop. Come on, stop it.
Stop it.
So that's kind of how I kind of just run with it. And it's been absolutely a ball. It's been absolutely fantastic. I always strive to like kind of be out of reach with my goals, because I feel like if you're not really reaching hard for something, are you really like after it? So that's kind of like my mentality.
I love that. Well, a new goal that you can have for this stream is to try to unseat Funky from being other than Catliente, an undefeated champion. Sorry, Chad Liente.
She just destroyed us.
I saw.
She almost won like 3 games against us in our time amount. Like it was insane.
We usually get through a game and a half, and she just went through it in like 30 minutes, and I didn't even know what to do with that. It was just rough.
I believe it.
Absolutely wrecked us.
Oh, Funky, it looks like you get to go first today.
Hopefully we don't get totally spanked today.
All right. I see this. I see these are veteran moves already. I did some studying. I see that's a veteran move right there, right off the rip.
He's pushing for that outside edge. Ooh,
I see it.
I am also gonna play that move as well.
Ooh. All right.
Not to put any pressure on you.
No pressure. I think I know that I kind of want to do a little bit of this. And right there. I'm going to go like that. There we go. All right.
I feel like one of the most important placements is that first set of roads, because that will really determine like the direction that you can go potentially.
Yes. Yeah.
And then you went last, so you get to place twice in a row.
Yeah.
Oh.
Veteran move.
Getting real cozy. Got it. I need access to brick, so I'm going to just...
Don't.
Oh. Lock him in. Lock him in. Just put him in timeout. Put his nose in the corner.
I thought he was telling me don't for something else. I've said a particular phrase in every single episode.
It's very
but
funny.
now I know what it means, so I'm not gonna say I'm all bricked up on a Saturday morning. Whoops.
My bad.
So what got you into content creation? Like what brought you to places like TikTok?
Okay, so obviously I had started streaming last May because of COVID. Our daughters, I was basically teaching them, doing all their schoolwork and stuff like that. And in process of that, when they went back to school, we decided that, I gotta do something else with my time, because I've been spending the last year-ish teaching our daughters school. So what do I do? And I'd always wanted to do streaming, but I was very, very hesitant to do any TikTok. I did not want to go into TikTok whatsoever. And when I made the jump, because I started doing, so summer happened, and so I didn't do any streaming hardly at all during that summer. I had practiced, done it, and then did a couple streams each month. And then when the ladies went back to school, I was like, I'm going to really pursue this. And my wife was like, okay, I think it's fantastic. Let's go. And in the process of that, I started streaming regularly in September of 2021 and then started TikTok in October. And I had, you should see, like, if you, I mean, obviously it's like buried, but if you were to go to the bottom of TikTok, of all the TikToks I made, it is not something pretty.
TikTok is really hard. Like Twitter is my like social media platform of choice. I think I've gotten Twitter fairly figured out on how to use it. Where TikTok, it is so chaotic and trends move so quickly. Like if you scroll to the bottom of my TikTok, it's all over the place. And I'm still like, I'm doing a challenge for myself right now where I make or push out 3 videos a day, at least one new dedicated video for TikTok every day. To try to practice making that short form content, because it's so hard for me to say something so concise, and because shorter is better on TikTok. It's so hard.
Yeah, I would absolutely agree with that, for the sole fact that like what happens, or is what has happened with mine, is I have been very careful not to go viral. And now I will put out, I think I've got it pretty well. I do a lot of studying, like a lot of studying. And in the process of doing a lot of studying, hold on, I'm going to get some trees here. I'm going to give that to the bank. And then we're going to the road.
Dang, you got a lot of wheat there?
Yeah, I got a lot of wheat. Yeah,
it looks like you're stacked.
I'm doing okay. I'm doing all right. But I need to go like, there we go, down here. All right. Yeah, those rolls. Sometimes, man, the rolls just go your way.
Yes.
So I was very careful not to go viral on TikTok, and people are like, I had friends warn me, do not try and make viral videos. And I was like, I have no idea what that means. I'm just going to make videos. And I was making like 1 TikTok a day, like 1. And then as I got better at making the TikToks and being able to just kind of make them, I was able to put out 3, because I always tell people, look at your algorithm. Look at your algorithm on TikTok. See when your viewers or your followers are really starting to watch your stuff, and then try and plan that out throughout the day. So I said, make one with an audio cue from, something that's popular, and then make another one that is a reaction to something that kind of represents what you do on your channel. And then the third one is do put a game clip or a clip from your stream, and you get 3. The third one's usually the easiest, because you just clip something from your stream and you put it out there and you're done. That's what I tell people. That's and it's worked for me. And other people I've told, they're like, yeah, it works pretty well. I'm like, good. Because I'm kind of making it up as I go along.
I think that's really good advice. And like, I've struggled with what do I post? Because of course, right now my TikTok is flooded with streamer tip videos, and then just absolutely random things. So trying to figure out what I'm going to make is difficult. And I think that's a really good tip. Trying to do those 3 different ones. And then we have Funky over here, who is a TikTok master in terms of getting just views with the most random, unplanned, absolutely chaotically unhinged things.
All right.
Like he'll just sit on the couch and be like, that would be funny. And then he does like a 10-second reaction to some random video, and he just gets a ton of views.
It's true.
A ton of views for me.
Well, yeah.
But
that's the thing. People.
It's still funny though. I love
totally
TikTok
agree.
and it's funny. There was a moment this last week where I built a keyboard for somebody.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, it was really cool to be able to work with them on it. And so I built a keyboard for them.
You guys
and
got
then
trees?
They were like pushing me.
I need wheat.
To they were like sort of pushing me on their stuff, and I didn't ask them to. They were just like, this is really cool. I really like this person. They made this keyboard for me. And then I kind of had to be like, okay, I probably should make a video explaining, because all of my videos on my TikTok are just like these chaotic, like weird angle, like just
Bad
silly
angle,
videos.
just like up from
Right.
the bottom of the face.
The video that has the most views on my TikTok is one where I put espresso in orange juice and tried it. Like that's the most. So I was like,
how was that?
It's like, if you like both of those things, you might like it. But it's like a nutty. That's like a nutty orange juice.
Yum! That sounds so good.
Sounds exactly like something I would want in my life. Yes,
It's not bad. It's definitely not bad. But so yeah, I had to make a video explaining. It's like, hey, if you found me through this, like, my TikTok is just kind of chaotic. But yeah, I love
that's
TikTok.
brilliant though. Like, that's what people don't do. And I have another buddy that actually posted on this. He goes, he said something about, I see a lot of my friends' stuff and I always like it, but there's no follow through. There's no retaining a follower or a viewer or anything like that. And I do not have any.
Yeah, it's rough out here.
And I said, I was like, oh. And so I did a TikTok in reaction, because I do commentary for Apex clips. That's like one of my TikToks I do. That's like one of my favorite things to do. And I put follow if you like this for more content. And I got like tons of people following me after that. And I was like, and I had done several of those before, and just bang. And then I did another one and bang. And like, I was like, huh, weird. If you just ask people if you like this and to follow, they do it. It's like,
the call
what?
to action stuff is
it's so important.
It can be it could be memed into the ground pretty heavily, but it's one of those things that, like, as somebody that's trying to, like, both of us, I guess, are trying to make content. It's stuff that you just have to do, because otherwise people just kind of forget to do it.
Yes,
you gotta ask.
You are 100% accurate.
Same thing with Twitter. You got to have that call to action. If you don't ask, if you want somebody to engage in a particular way with your content, you need to ask them to engage in a particular way with your content, or else they're not going to necessarily do it, because they're not going to think like you necessarily. So you need to be very direct about what you want your community and your viewers to do. And that's something I think a lot of people forget to do. They just assume that that's going to happen, but you actually just have to ask.
Yes, it's so weird. You're
Yeah,
absolutely right. But I think that when there's new content creators who find channels like yours or other, we were just talking about Cat, a lot of people are so, like, they put the cart before the horse. That's what old people say. So I can use that because I'm 40 now. They put the cart before the horse. So they're thinking of all the advanced stuff when it's as basic as, hey, if you like this, think about giving a follow, or so on and so forth. So I think that is absolutely great.
Well, and I think that's an important thing to think about too, and just how you approach others. For example, I approached you, I just asked. There was a chance that you could say no, but I still asked. There's no way that I could pursue those types of opportunities if you don't ask.
Yes.
You miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
That's right. Jordan right there. Absolutely. Absolutely. I say that to people all the time. I'm like, ask, and if they say no, don't take it, as a negative.
Mm-hmm.
Possibly they just don't have the time to implement that right now. But maybe later on down the road, you're like, hey, be like, it's been a few months. One of the greatest stories I've ever heard was from my lieutenant at the firehouse, and he works commercial real estate as well. And he says this: when he was first starting out, there was a guy. Oh, sorry about that game. It'll warn you. He said, I had this guy from another huge realtor company say, I will never forget you. And that's why I asked you to come over to our team, because when you first started out, you called me every week asking if there were any properties or anything like that. Like, I don't know how it works, but something to that effect. And he said, that's why I always remembered you, because of your mentality. Just because someone said no once doesn't mean that they'll say no next time. And I think it goes back to what you said. It's just like, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, and you don't know what you don't know until you know. And that's
exactly,
it's wild.
Yeah.
That's right.
Funky, it looks like we have some questions in chat.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I got two actually, and we'll go in order. What motivates each of you to push through the moments where you don't feel like putting on the effort?
Well, story time again. When I first started working at the firehouse, there's a gentleman there. Actually, he's like one of my best friends now, Dave. I was very skinny. Like I was 6'1", 140 pounds. So turning me sideways, I'd disappear and I'd blow away in a strong gust of wind. And I wanted to start working out. I mean, you got to understand, this guy's nickname was Buffy. He is jacked. He's Giga Chad. Like he's Giga Chad. He's a good looking dude, muscular, got it going on. And I said, I would like to start working out with you. And once again, he could have said no, right? He could have been like, yeah, sorry, man. Just, it ain't going to be your thing. Look at you. But he said, absolutely. Show up tomorrow. I'll be at the gym at 1:00. He didn't show up until 1:30 the first time. And I was like, where are you? He's like, I just wanted to make sure you wanted to be here. And so, and I was like, okay. I was like, I don't know. Cause I'm 23 at the time. I don't know. And it was that implementation of working out is, no matter when you're working out, there's always a spot in the workout that you typically want to quit, and you just keep going, right? You got to ignore the little voice in your head. And I know it's difficult because sometimes it's pretty loud, but you got to just tell it, pound sand, and keep moving. And that's really how I do it. What about you guys?
For me, it's when I feel like I want to quit, I try to reflect on why I'm feeling that way and then remind myself on why I started. And that usually will sort of redirect the way that I'm looking at things and my perspective so that I'm less likely to have those feelings, just being like, so why did I do this to begin with? And why am I doing it now? And what are my goals? And, there's been a couple of times where in this journey, I've sort of felt like, maybe this isn't what I need to be doing anymore. Does this add value? And then I thought about it and I thought it does actually. This is something that's really good for me. Mental health wise, it's something I'm very passionate about. I do have like a day job. So it is still like a hobby for me and a fun thing. It's something that I don't ever dread doing. It's not easy. There are definitely times where it's like major imposter syndrome, but it's something that I enjoy and I don't dread it.
Sure.
I'm pretty sporadic with what I do.
Okay.
I'm kind of a wild card. I do like to make content. And my content's mainly focused. Good morning. Hello, I'm here. Mainly focused on like building things. So like I build computers and keyboards and stuff like that. And I find a lot of enjoyment out of it. But then I go through stints of like, I only stream probably, I don't know, maybe like 4 times a month, maybe.
Okay.
Maybe. And it's
like,
and I still get a lot of enjoyment out of it. I don't overdo it. I've done it in the past where like every Wednesday I'd stream Warzone or even more than that. And I used to do a lot of gaming focused content. Now I've just kind of shifted gears and like now I just kind of do my own thing, and I get a lot of enjoyment out of it because I can just kind of like do it at my own, leisure. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I think when you're more relaxed, that's the other thing that, like you were saying, like when it's fun for you, other people can enjoy it that much more.
Right.
That's why I'm a hot dog 99% of the
time. We also got another question. What is your opinion on people on TikTok saying, I think I am shadow banned, please interact, to get interactions with low effort on their part? I don't know if I've ever had that as a thing that's ever happened to me.
No, it's never happened to me, and it's just a thing. To me, it's just people trying to get attention, and
it's an engagement thing.
It might work, right? But let's be honest, like it really doesn't. Like in the long term, It doesn't work. It's like we were talking before about TikTok advice or streamer tips, stuff like that. Like I used to do those, and then but to stay true to myself and who I am, I ran out. I don't have any more. Like now I can. There's always new people every day, right? So like I can explain those to people, but like if they want to know something, they're gonna have to go digging if they want to see that TikTok. But I will freely just give the information to whomever and just tell them. But I always tell people to try and choose, and it sounds really counterproductive and maybe counterintuitive, but choose the hard way. Choose the hard way. Watch the videos on YouTube, watch, the TikToks and implement them and struggle. Because when you were just talking at the beginning of this, do you ever have, audio issues, visual issues? When that happens and you're streaming to like one person and it's your wife or your husband or your partner or whomever, you will be at ease and be able to overcome that issue because you did all the work, because you did all the studying, and you'll just, the first couple times it will be very rough, but the road will smooth itself out for you if you just put in the work at the beginning.
I have to agree. And I think I kind of mentioned this during the last stream that I did. I mentioned there was some sort of OBS issue because there naturally always is. And I used to, at the very beginning of like the streaming journey, I would sweat that, like just be really thrown off and really nervous that there is an issue. Ooh, I don't have brick. That there is an issue. And I'd get so nervous where now if there's something wrong with stream, like I'll just fix it and like laugh about it. And if it's something that I think other people might also experience, I'll explain like how I'm fixing it so that they know, but just not like getting upset about it because it's not a big deal. We're all human, and I've never been in a stream where there was not one type of it's just always going to be a problem. There's just going to be one technical problem, but it's not a big deal. It's just part of streaming and doing content. It's just what's going to happen.
Yes. And like I get the problem now, like like I'll stream to 50, 60. I was 70 people ish, like almost to 80 before summer. And I backed away almost completely. I cut my time in half because I can only stream in the evenings because of having darn 7. Burk. No. Oh man, look at all these sheep. Sorry.
Bye.
Man.
Rest in peace, sheep.
Rip.
Rip.
No, so I was very much on the verge of getting Twitch partnered, and I had and it wasn't even actually a long discussion, a slight discussion with my wife, and I said, listen, I think I can do this get before the end of the year. That's one of my goals, was to get partnered by the end of the year. And there are people that like, you're upset, and because it was a TikTok, I was like, and there were people that understood, and there were people that upset. They're like, oh my gosh, look at this guy flashing that he almost made partner with the viewership, but didn't get it because he backed away and he made the choice. And people are like, how many people would die to be in your position? I'm like, no, I don't, because in all honesty, I just enjoy this. I enjoy seeing and talking to people and meeting new people. And I think that's the thing that gets lost when people are like, how am I going to get affiliated? People have a problem just getting affiliated with 3 average viewers. And I sympathize with those people because I was one of them. And I feel like the reason that I've got as far as I have is because of doing all the work. People are always telling me like, how do you know all this stuff? I was like, I spend hours. There's been days and weeks of knowledge just like dumped into my brain. And that's like half of it I probably forget and have to go look up again. So, I think that a lot of people, exactly like what you said, don't be frustrated because you are not the first to have this issue, and you will not be the last. If you're having a consistent problem, ask your community. If you don't have a community, go on YouTube. If you can't really find it on YouTube, go to Reddit. And I'm finding Reddit is a huge dump of knowledge. I mean, there's a lot of crap there too, but
A huge
there's
dump.
a lot there. And
yeah, you got to
some
sift
good
through a
stuff,
lot.
though.
Yes, and that's what I would say.
Oh, heck yeah.
What'd you do?
Nothing.
What?
Just don't gotta worry about it.
Oh, did you take somebody's brick?
Oh, what? No.
Oh no, you're doing
I
a
got my
trade
own
with the
brick.
bank. Okay,
Yeah,
okay,
I got
okay.
my
I
own
see
brick.
what you're doing here.
I got my own
I
brick.
see.
I see what's going on now.
Yeah.
Mercy.
Yeah.
So, as a dad and as a content creator and as a firefighter, how do you manage your time? Like, how do you balance without burning out and feeling like you're kind of like overstretching yourself? How do you do that?
Yeah, so I use it's more than a theory. It's called time boxing. And time boxing, you can look it up. There's tons of videos on YouTube about it. I was time boxing in a rough, very rough backwoods way before I found out what time boxing actually was and had a name. And in that, do you guys have any brick, by the way?
No.
I have 0 brick
No brick.
currently.
Dang, why
A
can
lot
we
of
not-
trees though.
Yeah, I don't need. Man, I got wheat. I got wheat. Dang. So I use time boxing, and time boxing is the rudimentary theory behind it is when you give yourself only, let's say we're gonna do 2 hours and we're gonna make TikToks, or we're gonna do 2 hours and we're going to make sure that we are getting on our socials, and you give yourself 2 hours, you become way more efficient. There's way more output when you know that you are in a clock. So it's kind of like basketball where there's a shot clock, or really any sport. When there's a clock put on you, your efficiency skyrockets. So when you time box, you're like, all right, I have a half an hour for lunch, or an hour for lunch. So during that hour of lunch, I am going to eat lunch for 20 minutes of it, and then I'm going to spend 40 minutes of it replying to my socials. All right. Once that hour is done, I am done. I do not allow myself to go back and work on that again. And you time box your day out, and you will be light years ahead of where you think you could have been. It's a very, very underutilized tool. And I try and speak on it as much as I can in the channel when people tell me, because I get that question a lot. Like a lot. And that's what I tell people. I'm like, time boxing, look it up, try it out. You don't have to be perfect, but try and be on point with it.
Yeah, I think that's also really good advice, because that's something I've seen on Twitter too, where folks will get kind of, because I'll occasionally make tweets like, go do your laundry, go drink some water, make sure you're taking care of yourself. And strangely enough, I get these responses to those tweets of like, I can't do that. I'm a streamer and I have a job and I can't take care of myself at the same time. And I'm like, what do you mean? Yes, you can.
What do you mean?
You just need to, you need to make sure you're prioritizing your health.
Discipline.
Yeah.
Before making content, because your content will suffer if you are physically suffering. So you do need to take care of yourself. But I feel like that always comes up when I'm like, self-care is important. And then they're like, no, how dare you make that suggestion? Like, okay, I didn't know that was a hot take.
Like, okie dokie.
So I think it's always interesting to figure out, like, how do other folks, focus on content creation and then all of the other stuff in their real life. And yes, I think sometimes certain things will suffer. Like for me, it's usually like sleep. But it's sort of like, where does that fall on the priority list? And then just managing your time better. It's possible. You have several hours in the day to do things. It's just, how are you going to do that?
Yeah, absolutely.
And I did kind of want to circle back to what you had mentioned about you sort of have ran out of those tip videos. And I appreciate you saying that. I think that's a really genuine, honest response, that you're only going to have so many tips because you're still in the journey. I mean, I imagine if you learn something new that you're willing to share that, but at some point it would just be you maybe Googling things just to make content, and you're doing what you feel is the most authentic. And I think that that's really great that you mentioned that.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. I did notice that it switched like right to Apex as I've been watching your content, but that's what you like doing.
Yeah. So I I've gone viral more with the Apex, but like we had talked about, like asking people to follow. Hey, what do you know? They follow. And
Right.
my other thing is, okay, finally. All right, sorry. I get into a conversation and now I'm like, I can do this now. Wait, do you guys need wheat before I do this?
I have so much wheat.
I have so much wheat too. Does anyone have brick and need wheat or animals?
I have
or
I have brick.
I have no brick.
What do you
I will
okay,
give you
okay.
I will give you brick for wheat.
Okay. Do you have 2 brick or do you have 1
I
brick?
have 1 brick.
All right, here it comes. What? Come back here. Sorry. Misclick. I don't do that at Apex ever.
No, never. So why Apex versus any other first person shooter game?
So I'm actually super glad. Yeah, no, I'm super glad you asked this because people ask me all the time. They're like, "You're okay." It actually is like a culmination of what we've been talking about here. So, let me make this house, and then I will get right to it.
Let me just get another point.
Yeah.
And
Well,
then
I mean, I'm just saying.
I'm
with all
trying
due
to
respect.
time my like difficult questions when you have a turn to try to like
Yeah,
thwart
no,
you and
yeah,
make
when
it harder
try
for
to
you.
Jam me up like Shaq at the foul line.
Absolutely.
The old Shaq doesn't even play basketball. People probably don't even realize who. They're like, he's an announcer. He doesn't play. Like, oh, no, you're right. Like, well, remember, you're talking to a 40-year-old man. So, here's my thing, and it's an ingenious question because it kind of comes back to everything. So the whole streamer tip thing, right? Ran out. Don't have the streamer tips anymore. I think that it's good to have streamer tips from people that have a big knowledge base, right? And that's where I felt like I was being genuine. I have this knowledge. It's easy to get it out in short form content because I can't edit YouTube videos. That's why I hired an editor. We can talk about that here in a bit. But to give you like the path I went down. So stop that. And there's a point to where the streamer tips don't really apply to you anymore. And you're not focusing on you, right? You're not focusing on what makes your stream special, what makes you authentic, what makes you original. You're so ingrained in, you took this deep dive into streamer tips, and now you have all this knowledge, but you've forgotten what or why you were doing what you're doing. And everybody has a different reason, so on and so forth. Now, I came upon Apex, and it reminded me immediately, the first day I played it, because one of the neighbors in the neighborhood was like, hey, why don't you try Apex? And I was like, I've watched Apex before. I don't know. There's a lot going on, and I don't understand it. And she's like, hey, just come play with me. And I was like, okay. I'll come play with you. And I played it with her, and I was like, I have no idea what's going on. I know how to point and aim with FPS, but there's like a whole crafting system and blah, blah, blah in it. And the guns all do different things. And I'm like learning. It was such a deep game. It wasn't like Warzone where like, hey, this gun is the gun that kills everybody in like 0.3 seconds. And if you don't have it, you're out on your luck. So I don't like that. I don't want to have to buy or make content to try and get other people to buy stuff. Like I'm very much against that. And so I got into Apex and I realized, wow, this is a lot of fun. And it reminded me of couch co-op with N64 GoldenEye. And I was like, I'm having the same kind of fun and feeling that I had when I was a kid playing N64, playing the game GoldenEye that I did with my friends when we all sat on a couch and, razzed each other and gave each other a hard time. Like, why aren't you playing Odd Job? He's the smallest one. He has the tiniest hitbox. All that little intricate stuff. And that's where I was like, I really like this. Like, I really, really like this. And that's kind of where I started to take my deep dive into Apex. And I was like, all right, so clips don't necessarily work to just make clips. But what about if we did this? Or what if we did that? And kind of twisted it. And a lot of people talk about the audio on the channel. What if I did commentary for it? Because I let's face it, I'm not the best player on my team by any stretch of the imagination. And so when I die, I do commentary of the other two people that I'm playing with. And people are like, the whole chat will light up, cracking up, and laugh because I say like off the wall stuff. I did one TikTok where I did a commentary for a clip where this guy came in and he split up a team of 3, and I was like, it's just like my girlfriend in the 10th grade between me and my best friend. And people were dying and loving that TikTok. And I was like, and I think that the enjoyment is sometimes lost upon people, and that's kind of how I came into Apex now.
Well, and I
I
think
like to make it fun.
if you are having fun, your community will have fun with you. And I think other creators have said that. And I think it is super true. The second that I switched over to being a hot dog, which I find very funny, and I laugh at my own clips.
Yeah.
It's been a whole different situation, is because I'm having fun and my friends are having fun, the community's having fun.
Absolutely.
So they're gonna hang out. It's not for everybody,
I agree.
but they're gonna hang out.
It's not, and
that's
why
okay.
I think, and I think that's why streaming is so cool, because or lit, is that what the kids, I don't know.
I don't know. I just
still
turned 30. I don't know. I'm not.
Yeah, I don't know the terms.
Yeah.
It's really neat.
I don't think neat's ever gonna go.
It's very poggers.
It's super neat, and I think that's why people like not only watching, streamers, but engaging and making their own content, because you don't know what you're gonna find. I mean, and the thing is even if you don't like that, you can find, literally, you could turn the page to somebody else and be like, it's literally a 180, and that's what I think is so fantastic.
I think people have a lot to be jealous of. If you're sort of like that, like bit of nostalgia that you get. You're talking about GoldenEye. I was a GoldenEye kid too, and like to be able to like harken back to that feeling of playing a game like that. I mean, I'm jealous,
right?
Like I want to find a game where like I feel like I guess for me too, like I grew up in the Halo era where, like I was playing Halo 2 and we were up in my bedroom, everything was all connected. We had several TVs and stuff. Like that's very nostalgic for me, and I wish that, I still do stuff like that. Not like that though, like not 4 to 6 sweaty kids in a room playing Halo. Right. But I can we sort of emulate that by we go to PDX LAN every year now.
Okay.
Or at least I have been. I've been trying to, and that's one of the country's biggest LAN parties. And it's fun, but you don't know everybody. It's not the same thing, but it's like I get to actually see my friends from Portland when I get to go. But it's not the same thing. So when you say like, it reminds me of like how I felt when I played GoldenEye. That like really, it was just like, man, I miss those days.
I miss couch co-op.
True.
I really want to do that again.
It's true, because I did the Halo thing too, because it was like GoldenEye and then Halo, and then I totally sympathize with what you're saying. And I knew I was onto something with Apex when I had new people that had been in the channel since day one, like in the middle, like of viewership, people coming in and being like, I gave this game up, and now that I see how much fun you're having, I'm re-downloading it, or I'm reinstalling it, or I've never even played this game, but I see how much fun you speak on it and how much like you're enjoying it. And it's a free to play game, and that's where I kind of like try and really hit hard on those free to play games where you can spend money if you want. It's fantastic, great, grand, good, terrific, But if it costs somebody $60, they might not be able to play that game with you. And remember, like at the beginning of this, it's including people to me. It's about inclusion, and it doesn't matter. Like I could literally not care less where you've come from or what you've done. I've done things in the past that I'm not proud of, and everybody deserves a second chance. You should never, ever, ever, and I hit this as a staple in the channel, be bogged down by the burdens of your past, because I'm not the same guy I was at 20, at 30, and now I'm a different person at 40. So I feel like everyone gets a fair shot at the Daily Dad. And I try to implement where a lot of people are like, I don't play with randoms, I don't play with new people. I don't care because I have an easy way of getting you out if you start acting a fool. So it is no burden to me at all. I can mute you and be done, and it's not a problem. So I'm all about including new people. I think it's fun. I think it's intuitive. I think it's interesting because it's never the same game twice. So that's why Apex and including new people is so fun to me.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, it's my turn. Do you guys need anything for brick?
I think I'm starting to get my brick situation sorted.
Okay. Well, you've literally blocked off me from brick pretty much completely. You're like, did I? Oh my gosh, sorry.
Oopsies.
I think it's an important point that you bring up about choosing free games, though.
Yes.
So in our community, we do like a community game. We try to at the end of every month, and we try to make sure that we pick games that are free to play and we also try to, and it's a little bit harder, but try to make sure that it's free to play, but also cross-platform, because a lot of folks in our server are actually console players. And we're PC players.
Okay,
so
gotcha.
we try to find those free-to-play games that everybody can play. And that's sometimes a challenge, but I think it's really cool to be able to bring everybody together and be inclusive. And I'm in your Discord, the neighborhood, and I really appreciate the way that you've set it up and that you've sort of framed it as like a neighborhood. And I really like that. I like the setup of your Discord server. I think it's important for communities to be built like that versus like when I go into your Discord, I don't think this is all about the Daily Dad. I mean, obviously it is your server, but it doesn't feel like a shrine to you. It is a community, not a shrine, right? Where some servers you go into and it's just like, it's that person. And it's like, no, like I just want a cool place to hang out with my friends and play games and like everybody's in a safe environment. That's it.
Yeah, and I was still laughing. To piggyback onto that, so this is my like version 2.0 of my Discord. The first version, I had no idea what I was doing. And when you do make a Discord, for those of you that are watching or listening to this, just make it, because I'm guaranteeing you right now, 100% dad authentic, hand to God. Right now, I'm telling you, it will not look anything like you previously envisioned it to look like. The way the Discord looks now is a lot to do with my moderators. Obviously, I wear the fire department and I'm dad, and both of those things are important to me because fire department's my career. Being a dad is always been something I've always wanted to be. I've been very lucky to have two amazing, beautiful daughters. But I can't be in the Discord all the time, and I pretty much have the mods. And I told them this when I started to build up the community. I said, listen, I can't be in here all the time. I'm going to need you guys to take over. If there's something that happens, I trust you to ban it, correct it. The last thing I want people to do is come in and get straight up banned for doing something that, really A, wasn't that big of a deal, and B, really wasn't that big of an offense to begin with. So my moderators are all on par with that, which is really cool. But at the same time, it's like you gotta keep the shit moving. And so when we redid the Discord, one of my moderators, Britt, helped out tremendously, and she has done a phenomenal job still to this day since she came on.
Now, do you have expectations or guidelines for your mods at all? Like, so if somebody new comes in and they become a mod, is there any here's what you do in this situation, or do you have those types of conversations, or are there any kind of, like I said, any kind of guidelines or expectations for your mods?
Yes, but so our newest mod, Solid, he came in, and I have she's 19 now, lives over in the UK. She basically teaches all the mods what is okay, not okay, and she walks through each mod on what is the expectation. Each of my mods have strengths and weaknesses that I've kind of internalized, I know, and I, not to sound negative, but I prey upon those. I want you I want you to do your strength, while I have another moderator that your weakness is their greatest strength. So I make sure I'm very careful when I pick mods. I'm not all willy-nilly about it. I definitely get to know them personally. And that's kind of how I operate with that. So, but Bliss, that's her name. Bliss, she kind of walks everybody through the rules and regulations, as we would say at the Firehouse.
Yeah, I think that's good. We recently started working on like expectations and stuff for mods, just because I thought, the community's growing, and similar to just how the podcast itself is planned, it's really hard to just ask somebody to be part of something when they have no idea what that means.
Yes.
And like, what are they supposed to do? And, initially I thought, well, it's just common sense, but it's not. It's not always going to be that way, because not everybody's going to think like you. So I spent a bunch of time yesterday writing you've already seen an example of one of my Google Docs.
I did.
A massive Google Doc. Basically, like, if you have this type of interaction in the server, here is what you could do to react to it. Or, because we're not, the admin, the major creators in that server are not always going to be in there. And I want the mods to have the ability to feel confident in dealing with the situation versus just kind of worrying and not being able to act. Because the way our Discord is set up is we each had our own Discord servers that didn't go anywhere. They were just like a ghost town. So I thought, what if we just take all of us and just do one Discord, and it's a community, the Den. So it's like
Which
a game
is a phenomenal
room.
name, by the way.
It's like a game room, like the Den, like the Den in a house. So we each have our own like text channel that we like have our own very designated content in, but overall the whole server is just a community based thing. And it's worked really great. So we have, a group of dedicated content creators who have their own channels, but otherwise it's a community thing. Again, it's not a shrine to any one person. It's here's the community. Everybody kind of has their own role and plays their own part. And so it's been a struggle for me lately to figure out how do you set those expectations that are reasonable? Because again, this is a place that is for fun and not a job. So how do you set expectations without making it feel like it's a job?
Like you're stepping on toes?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So I have my moderators are obviously a 19-year-old from the UK. I have another moderator who's a teenager from Malaysia. I have another moderator, Britt. She's from Canada. And Solid, I have all these moderators, but all vastly different and come from very, very different walks of life. But they all get along. It's like anything else. It's like and I call it the neighborhood, but you can have a spat with a neighbor and just be over it like the next day. And it's the same deal at the Firehouse. It's the same deal with a family. It's kind of just like the walks of life. But if a moderator feels, and this is where I feel like if I was to have a strength, I would say that I understand very well. I ask the right questions and I listen. I don't just hear you. I am listening, and I am actively listening to not only what you're saying, but the affliction of your voice. So when you say something and you get a little bit more high pitched, I know that we are hitting a little soft spot here that you are really not digging. Okay. And I think that's maybe a lost art of a lot of people, is not just hearing someone, but listening to how, not only what they're saying, but how they are saying it. And it's a little bit difficult through text. Obviously, it's easier to do through audio, like actually hearing someone. But if you're reading between the lines and taking some kind of just a little bit of time, you can see the high points of where this conversation is. And I think that it really comes back to we all trust each other. Even though we might have a different point of view, we can eloquently and professionally get that through to each other. Now, do emotions come out? Yeah, we're all human. I get it. And I'm not going to like razz them about getting upset about something specific that maybe they do have a soft spot for. Okay, that's totally fine. But I think that when they question something, they're like, I don't know if we should ban this person. my whole thing is I always give a warning. If someone does something, I give the warning. I'm like, hey, maybe you're in the wrong channel. Okay, no big deal. Go to this category instead if you're wanting to do that stuff. And for example, we have people who post up their like their products, right? If they sell something, I want people to feel comfortable and, you know, self-promoting their product. Like people make stuff like emotes, screen, you know, starting soon screens, ending soon screens, intermission screens, all that stuff. I want people to know and have a place where they can go and trust somebody because they're in the neighborhood and be like, hey, this person's legit. You can go buy something from them and, you know, it's going to work out. And there's, because I've been on Fiverr. Fiverr's a needle in a haystack. I'm here to tell you, like, you just don't know what you're going to truly get at the end. And I think it's nice to be able to have that where, you know, you can go to a Discord channel and it's not just for video games. It's for streamer help. It's for audio help. It's for visual help. It's for OBS help. It's for Streamlabs help. It's for your products that you make. It's for, you know, and I think that that's what a neighborhood is. A neighborhood is a big old conglomerate and a hodgepodge of people that come from different walks of life, but we all respect each other. And I think that when a question comes up to anybody, you know, when in this instance for the moderators, when someone has a question like, is this kind of iffy? You can come to me and I will understand and I will hear you and listen to you and make sure I'm paying attention to what high points that you yourself personally feel like should or should not be happening.
And for those that are currently watching the stream and in chat, we are at the hour mark, so we're actually going to take like a short 5-minute break. And while we're doing that, you should definitely go over and check out, if you're not already following the Daily Dad, his links are posted in the chat right now. Go check out his Discord. It's set up really, really nice. So I highly recommend it. It's a really fabulously done Discord. So while we're taking that break, maybe go check out his socials and take a peek at that Discord.
Thank you.
Yeah, so we're going to go on a little bit of a break. We got refills of our waters and coffees, and yeah.
Good to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was trying to get longest road, and like I can see now that that's probably not going to happen.
I can see
since somebody's splitting the board.
Roads are gone. Literally, he cut the map in half, and I was like, well, I'm kind of secluded down here in my corner. He is literally taking a brick. I
only have a couple sediments. I mean, you're doing really well, Dad. I'm just gonna call you Dad for the rest of the podcast. So I find that very funny.
That's all right.
Thanks, Dad.
Thanks, Dad.
Are you proud of me, Dad?
Dad, you're back with the milk and cigarettes.
Please don't yell at me while I hold the flashlight.
There's all kind. That's the other good thing about it. Is like there's so many dad jokes that people drop. They're like, "What's your favorite dad joke?" And this is my go-to one. I'm like, "What kind of bees like milk?" And then people obviously that have been in the chat for so long know exactly what I'm like, boobies.
Snap.
And no matter how many times I've told that joke, like a true dad fashion, I always laugh at it.
So how did you come up with the name The Daily Dad? Is that the first name that you had, or have you rebranded at all?
So like go back in time a little bit. So I was previously married. Oh my God, dude, that's so much wheat. Do you guys need wheat?
Brick.
I need
if
wheat.
You want some?
I got sheep.
How much brick can you give up?
I've got lots. So
you have trees and brick?
I only have one tree right now, and I need it.
I'll go to brick. There we go.
Yeah, I can do that.
Do you have any trees? Anyone trees?
I just have sheep and rock.
Got goats?
I'm very goated, and yeah, that's what's going on right now.
I love it. All right. I gotta go to the bank then. All right. I don't have to do that, do I? Hold on a second. Let me see here. Yes. Okay. We can do this. Okay. And then 1, 2.
Dad is counting the number of cards he has right now.
I'm doing
determining what he needs to win this. Can he win this? I'm narrating your gameplay right now.
I done stole it. All right. Sorry. Obviously, old men can't do two things at once. So, but I can hyper focus and do one of them real well. So, was previously married, wouldn't do streaming, but just the relationship I had with my ex-wife, just no bueno. So it just, I could not do it then. So fast forward years down the road, I get remarried and I talk to my wife. I'm like, I want to do this. Let's do it. I'm like, what? She's like, yeah, if this is something that you wanted to do, I'm in full support of it. I'm like, let's go. So she's like, well, what's your name going to be? And I was like, full stop. And I was like, I don't know. And I was like, and one day, like the whole neighborhood thing, it just hit me. I was like, well, I'd be streaming daily. And I mean, I'm a dad. And she's like, well, you got something on the end of that sentence? And I was like, what do you think about the Daily Dad? And I was like, yes. And I was like, I was like, because let's face it, a lot of people, and this is where, by the way, those of you that are listening, watching, when you go and you start your whole streaming thing, take the time to come up with a name. It doesn't necessarily need to be catchy or anything like that. I mean, that obviously helps. But something someone can easily remember. No extra letters, no extra numbers. That gets really, really messy and really, really difficult. So when I put in the Daily Dad, I was like, I cannot believe this is not taken. I was like,
it's really
what?
Hard.
And so bang, that's how I got it.
You got lucky.
Yeah, I got super lucky because then I started going to YouTube and Twitter, and it's like the Daily Dad is taken times and times and over, but the Daily Dad 1 was not. And I was like, are you kidding me? It's what? So, and that's how I was able to sneak those in too.
I love it. And I love that you've been able to, you just like picked it and you just full send and you're still sticking with it.
Yeah. And I think it kind of does go with who I am. I mean, I've been a dad for a little over 10 years now, and I've always wanted to be a dad, always wanted to be a firefighter. And I've been very, very lucky to have my dreams with, let me tell you, lots of hard work came true.
Just gotta put the wrapper here.
That's a lot of sheep there.
Yeah. What about it?
You discarded 5 sheep?
Yeah.
That's rough.
What about it?
Yeah, what are you gonna do?
What are you trying to insinuate?
Say it to my face.
Yeah, you got something to say about my sheep? Mind your business.
I would have taken one of those sheep.
Oh my gosh. Man.
I just need to delay another
you know
road.
what? I see that you've placed a house on my road, which
oh my gosh, I
actually
did?
Yeah,
did.
it actually cut my road in half, so it gave Ophi the longest road. So
I'm sorry, I didn't even realize I did not.
I realized
me and Dad actually have a pact.
Yeah, I'm actually like chatting to her right now. Like, hey, we gotta split this guy up.
Screw this guy.
We had a meeting before this to talk about unseating you from the throne.
That's right.
Well, that's fair.
Get him.
I feel like that's pretty fair.
I just want to not be in last place, just once.
Yeah,
I think it would be very cool. I'd be totally down for that. So,
all right.
Yeah.
Here, do you guys have any brick?
No, I wish I did.
I have 1 brick.
Do you need a tree?
Sure.
Okay.
I'll take a tree.
Copy that.
Is there any content creator or creators that you look up to?
You know, honestly, there's ones that I like, right? But there's no one like that. And I think this is also something that comes with old age, because I brought this up earlier. Imposter syndrome. I have never felt that. Like I've made TikToks about it because I think it's something I understand it because I researched it. I get it. But I've never personally felt it at any point. I feel like at 40, I'm so already different than a lot of other streamers, being like the oldest man on campus and still learning on the college grounds. But I honestly feel like I enjoy people like Morph Games. I enjoy people like Formidable. I enjoy people like Co Carnage, Dr. Disrespect. Obviously, he's not on this one. I used to watch Tim the Tap. I mean, there are streamers that I really, really enjoy. But I'll be honest with you, the content creators that I watch the most are female streamers. And the reason for that is because I don't understand it, but I sympathize, I guess, because I'm a guy. I don't walk in women's shoes. I don't get their lifestyle. That's why I'm a guy. Like, I don't get it, but I will listen, right? I will listen to what you have to say. And I have two, like I've said, amazing, beautiful daughters and a fantastic wife. And I don't always understand everything that they're talking about, but I listen to them. And I try to actually use the channel to promote women streamers. Like, I love watching Lulu Lovely. There have been women streamers that I've seen on TikTok that don't even stream on Twitch yet, or YouTube, or Facebook Gaming, and they just make clips from their Apex. And so I will reach out to them and be like, hey, what do you think about coming on the channel? And they're like, yeah, that sounds cool. And I'm like, fantastic. All right, we got a spot for you. And that's kind of how that kind of works for me, I should say. That's kind of my thing, if you will. I look for female streamers to maybe that aren't getting the recognition that they should be because they have a crack shot, or they are just, the movement in Apex is like something I've never seen. And like you say, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. And I ask them, hey, you want to come onto the channel and be a guest player, or, and they're like, yeah, like, and I always, before I go into that question, and this is for those people that are listening, make sure that you make the other person feel comfortable right off the rip. Explain, tell them who you are, tell them your real name if you're comfortable with that. Once you go down those two paths, you tell them a little bit about your channel and why you intend on having them on. So all the ideas and the implications of, and the like, what you're trying to accomplish are right out in the open to them, so it's not anything sneaky and they feel comfortable.
Kind of like how I reached out to you for the podcast.
It's absolutely right. When I got your message, I was like, no, and it is kind of funny, but I was like, I instantly vibed with the message because I was like, this is exactly how I send my messages to other content creators that I want to engage with on. And sometimes they can't co-stream with me. They're like, yeah, I can play a couple games for an hour or two. And then I got to kind of go do IRL. And I'm like, all right, no worries. I appreciate you just coming on for the little amount of time that you could. So I totally was in love with the message that you sent me because I send those same ones out.
Yeah, I think it's important when you're reaching out to anybody, especially for collaborations, is to have a purpose statement. Because it's like, why? One, why me specifically? Why are you reaching out to me? Like, show me that there's that you find value in me as an individual and not as just something else. And then, like, what is the end goal of me, collaborating with you outside of just having fun? So I think that's really important. I think that's really cool that you make an effort to. I like that Funky built something in the middle of my road. Okay, just now noticing that. That's kind of messed up.
Did you see how I blocked off all the wheat and ore right here?
Wow.
Road. I'm trying to divide.
I was trying to get to that freaking.
I was gonna say something nice about you guys, but now it's just gone now.
But now I'm
sorry. Now I'm not. Now I'm not saying nothing nice. No, I really like that you're trying to basically showcase creators who otherwise might not have that opportunity. And I think that that's really important because sometimes the focus is on, like, for example, rating out is something I think is really important to do. And when you're trying to pick somebody to raid, I will often raid my friends because I love them. But I also I don't look at is this a big streamer, big content creator? I look at, do I think the people currently in my chat, currently viewing, will they like this person? Have they seen this person before? And if not, I want to expose them to this creator because they may really enjoy that, regardless of, the size of that creator, I try to think about, what would my community like? And that way, because content creation is not a competition.
It's not.
Ever. So, and we don't gatekeep here. So if I see another creator and I think, wow, this person's content's really awesome. I don't know if people in chat have seen them before, but I want them to check them out. And that's why at the beginning, before the show started, I said, the one thing that I'm going to have you do at the very end is to pick somebody to raid, because I want to see new content creators that we're not familiar with completely out. Because if you're on here long enough, I find that you kind of like end up in sort of a circle where it's, unless you're intentionally going out to find completely new people that have nothing to do with you, you kind of end up in the circle where you get into other people's chats, which has actually happened in one of your chats. I was lurking while I was working, because that's what I do during the day. And one of my mutual content creator friends was in your chat. And I was like, hey, I know them. Yeah. But like it becomes that like really small world. So I think it's really good and important to try to showcase and intentionally reach out to new folks that you're not familiar with and try to work with them, because, you never know, new friendships and whatnot, but it's just good to widen your community versus just sort of like sticking with the small handful of folks that you're really comfortable with. I think that's great that that's your approach.
Yeah. And another story that I actually just watched and I shared it with my wife, and no political agenda here or anything, but it was Dana White's story about who runs the UFC. And when he took it over, it was poo-poo, garbage on fire when he bought UFC when it was at its lowest. And he was talking about how he couldn't get a venue and so on and so forth. And once again, no political agenda, no nothing like that. Just once again, the story, just take the story for at its worth. Donald Trump reaches out to him, and Donald Trump says, hey, and this is when Trump was like, the name was super, super high and UFC was way down here. And Trump goes, I'll let you, he goes, come to my venue, come to the Trump Towers or whatever it was. And we'll have you on here. And Trump showed up, was there from the very first fight to the very end of the last fight. And from then on, it showed that he was invested and they became best friends because of that. And I was like, that is, and if you can just wrap your head around it, it's very much like that in streaming content creation. Even if I have 50, 60, 70, 80, whatever people in my channel, there's no reason that I can't reach out to a smaller content creator. And like I've said, some of the content creators, like the women, and like I said, it has to do with the reason I give so many women streamers that play Apex onto the stream is because I have 2 daughters, and I would want them to be thought of, if they were really, really good at it, to come onto the stream, be asked, be engaged, see other content creators, be like, hey, I don't care if you're male, female, whatever. Why don't you come on and we'll have a good time and you can play and you can showcase your skill. And I think it's important that it doesn't matter how many viewers I have or that you have. It's who you are is what I'm looking for. I'm not looking at your viewership. I could literally give 2 flaming dog piles on my doorstep of cares about what your viewership is. I'm looking for you as a person. Do you like to get after it? Are you really like aggressive and like you're hunting teams down? Because like that's a lot of fun and that's really good content, especially when you're a female. Especially when you're a female, because it's like I'm getting after it and I'm literally wiping this whole lobby. There might be one other female in it and I'm gonna come out on top. Like, I love that story. I love that mentality. And I love to showcase those women. I love to showcase those dudes that do the same thing. It just makes for so much more of an engaging experience to me personally. That's my opinion on it.
Well, and we know that the discoverability is not great on Twitch. So not having a ton of followers and not having a high view base doesn't mean that you're not a good content creator. You just haven't been discovered yet. And so like somebody with 3 views and 10 followers could be the funniest person and a total blast to hang out with, where somebody could have 1 million followers and tons of viewers and be kind of like, meh. So, it's about the person and not the numbers, and just approaching people as people versus like a status thing, which is also why like I will shoot my shot with anybody that I think is cool and interesting and that I want to hang out with and talk to and get to know better, because I'm interested in them as a person.
Yes.
So yeah, that's looks like we got another chat question.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Do you think that Twitch taking away friends in quotes and who they are currently watching affects the discoverability of new people?
I guess I'm at a loss. I don't know what they mean by.
So yeah.
Yeah, they did. They recently took away the feature where you can like friend people on Twitch. Which I mean
shows how much I know.
It's right. It kind of just, to me, I don't really think it did a whole lot. And if anything, it kind of made, I don't know. It's like it shows people who you're watching, like if you're friends with them. Like I don't know. I don't know if that really makes it that much of a difference, to be honest.
No, but I would say when they got rid of the host, that really bit me.
Yeah, the host alerts
a little bit. Yes, because I don't know how much it preyed upon their system or anything like that. I don't know the intricacies of that. However, I would say that it that bit me out of shape because I loved the host alert of one person, right? I had lots of people host the channel with 1, 2, 3 viewers, whatever the situation might be. Absolutely love that. And when they got rid of that, I was bent out of shape about it because I was like, man, that was one of the coolest things because I had a whole, like, I'll be honest, in my own personal stake, I loved my alert for hosts. Like, it was like one of my favorite alerts. And now it's gone. And that was kind of always like a thing that I was like, really? I was like, all right, I guess.
So to thwart that, I use Mix It Up Bot, and if you use Mix It Up Bot, it'll go off regardless of how big or small the host is. Because I was really bummed when I don't even know what they've raised it to. Is it like 5 or 10 or it's some higher number to host?
Basically, it's a raid.
Yeah,
is what it turns into now.
Yeah,
and I get that, but I have a lot of things in the back end of works because the neighborhood is getting a whole renovation. Please not 7, thank God. Sorry, I was like, please God, not a 7. I need, man, you really jammed me up with this or thing.
Oops.
Whoops.
I think kind of going off of what you were saying earlier about women streamers, I think one of my favorite clips recently, I can't talk today.
It's all good.
I didn't have any coffee, so that's my problem. One of the clips that I saw recently that it's awesome. It's a streamer by the name of Dangerous.
Okay.
And she had somebody, I don't know where the person came from, if it was on a TikTok or something, but it said something about they had said something about how like women streamers just aren't as good, or just something to that effect. And she 1v1'd him. She found him and actually like brought, women can't play games is what the person said. Mm-hmm. And so she said, okay, you can come on the stream and we can 1v1. And they 1v1 in Call of Duty. And she beat the crap out of this guy.
Smashed him to pieces, I'm sure.
And it was like 20-8 or something on shipment. And she was like, okay, yeah, I mean, do you still have the same opinion? And the guy was like, okay, we got to do it again, like a redo kind of thing. And she was
rematch.
Like,
let's go again.
I don't, if you think that's going to change anything,
you want to get something
20-8,
again?
it wasn't even close.
Yeah, it's such a I mean, I love that message too. It's just like I play recently. Everybody that I play with on Warzone, which I don't really play a ton of it, but when I do play with a lot of women, and they're better than me. Like it's so awesome to me, and I love that message.
Yeah. There's a girl I had on Admiral. She went from as a solo player in Apex, which if you don't know, playing ranked as a solo is basically your own ability to go into a rubber room and become insane. And she was like, yeah, I'll come on and play. And she soloed herself all the way into Masters. From bronze all the way to Masters, she soloed herself. Oh, no.
Drill 7.
I was hoping not for that. I think I can. Oh my gosh, that's so much. I can still pull this out. Dang. Go here. All right. Oh, right. Ta-da.
Oh, okay.
Dang it.
Oh. Well, now. But she did that, and it was like she was so good. But I agree with you. Like, there are these, like, the idea that like women aren't as good at video games as us is insane. Like, it's just
so archaic.
It's so lost upon me.
Just
it's laughable.
Lost, you know?
It is you know
that's
what?
why I don't go in comms. Well, okay, so I have two moods. I just want to. I got two moods. I'm just gonna play the game and have a good time, and I'm not gonna turn comms on in Call of Duty. Or we're gonna be toxic, and I'm gonna turn my comms on, and we're just gonna have a really fun time. And as soon as somebody hears that I have a feminine voice, two things will happen. One, nothing. Or two, somebody just starts saying like just mean stuff.
Yeah.
And the last time it happened, what was really funny, and I've never experienced this before, this guy came into voice chat and was like being really mean to me. And then the rest of the team ganged up on him and was like, that's
awesome.
messed up, man. Why would you say it? And then everybody hunted him.
Good.
And it was hilarious.
That's
awesome. Now that's content.
Yeah,
and the thing that he doesn't know is that not only am I a woman, but I'm also a hot dog. So like, how does it feel to get domed by a hot dog?
Yeah. Absolutely.
How does that feel?
Yeah. Does that make you feel good? Does that make you feel like a big man?
Like you can't make fun of me and say mean things. Look at me.
That's right.
Like I make fun of myself, my guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's my brand.
It's what I do.
I love it. Oh, no. You're in the lead right now?
What did she say?
Funky.
What did she say?
What did she say?
Oh. You guys just trees on trees on trees, and you took my spot. I wanted that, like, where you put your little blue house. I wanted that spot because I was going to get more trees.
I got a question. Why can't I build a house down here by this sheep port? Bottom of 5?
I don't see why you couldn't.
I don't understand why not either.
Are you out of houses?
Do you have enough resources?
Houses? I think you've built 5 houses.
Yeah. Oh man, you've built 5 houses. Oh no, you're out of houses that you could build because you built so many houses.
Oh no.
I really sympathize with you.
It
feels so bad.
Yeah. Oh, and I
ran out of pieces.
Dang it. I wasn't paying attention. Darn it.
We got him.
Oh man.
Got him on the ropes.
But yeah, no, I totally sympathize with that because I hope that like our daughters are both very good at Super Smash Brothers, and I would hope that we're very careful. Like they don't know that I do this at all, and that blows people's mind a lot. They're like, "Well, why? Why would your kids not know?" And I said, "The reason is because I have full faith that this can become a thing, even though I started at age 39 and age 39 I started, and I've been doing this for a year, and now I'm 40. I feel like I've also started to move away from I wouldn't say move away, but like I don't do TikTok like I used to. I do obviously the Apex stuff, but I have moved on to like heavy into YouTube. Like I've really started since I got a video editor. He's been phenomenal. Him and his team have been phenomenal. And here's another thing, like as you grow as a content creator, like I've talked about like time boxing. I cannot fit in the ability to learn how to edit videos.
It takes so long.
It does. I don't have the time, and I honestly don't have the drive to do that. I know myself well enough at 40 to know what I'm into and what I'm not into, and it ain't gonna be that. And so I was very lucky. There were months that I asked people, you know, anyone that knows how to YouTube like do video editing, blah 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 blah, and nothing. nothing came back. And I looked on Fiverr and nothing really jived. And I really not had a lot of luck on Fiverr. By the way, for those of you looking,
She took it back.
I
wanted to build there. Look at what you've done to me. Look at what you've done. Look at what you've done. But I want to move into YouTube because I like, and they've been my most popular YouTube videos, Make Dad Laugh. And where if someone can make me laugh, I will give you $20 in Amazon gift cards. Now we are going to be upping the ante to, if you can make me laugh, I'm going to buy my neighborhood an ice cream truck to have come in at the local park. And I'm going to like continue to up the ante because I actually enjoy the Make Dad Laugh, because I like not only seeing what makes other people laugh, but honestly, they're like the last one that made me laugh. And it was a Warzone clip. I was cracking up for days and watching it and laughing at it. So like I've started to move on to YouTube, and only because I have an editor. So like that's,
I gotta tell you, don't watch any of my other streams because you will owe me so much money. I'm so funny. I am the funniest person you'll meet on Twitch. So don't watch any of my clips. Just do yourself a favor now. Don't watch any of my TikToks of gameplay. I'm very funny. I just be careful. You're just gonna laugh a lot. So just I will save you now, and I won't send you any of my very hilarious clips.
Hey, I'm telling you, $20 goes to the person in their pocket. Do you guys have any wheat?
I have one wheat.
Do you need a sheep or brick?
I'll take either one. It don't matter.
Okay.
Give me whatever.
Yeah, chat saying I'm also incredibly humble.
The old humble brag.
Nothing like mods to bully you in the chat. That's what mods are for. Right. It's just to humble you and bully you.
That's right.
That's the relationship.
Okay. Ooh. Big house.
It's a city. It's a city.
You're doing it.
We built this city.
I'm so proud.
He's done it.
He's done it. I need more. Now suddenly I need rock. Give me rock.
Even though you're the one that lives on the rocks.
I know. I do.
I need more.
I've stolen your rocks many times.
Yes.
I put my robber on your rocks and I take them.
Does anyone need trees?
Kind of messed up.
No.
Okay.
So something I've been really curious about lately, and I just made a TikTok about it. There's a lot of streamer tips, and there's a lot of talk about being successful, but there's not a lot of talk about what that means to individuals, because what I consider to be successful is going to be different from what you consider to be successful, what Funky considers to be successful. So, Dad, how do you measure your success? What does success mean to you specifically?
So that's a really good question. I would say that it really comes down to I'm a numbers guy. So I'm a numbers guy. So when I look analytics, and when I was asked when I asked the question about like, how do you I asked a similar question to content creators that are much bigger than I am. And I was very lucky enough to, get a hold of their ear, and they actually replied back to me and all that jazz. They said, look at your analytics, look at them on TikTok, look at them when you do YouTube, look at them on YouTube, look at, how your streams have gone on Twitch Tracker. By the way, if you're a streamer, look on Twitch Tracker. You can look on Sellinome, a bunch of different ones, but Twitch Tracker, I think, is the easiest one. It might not be the most detailed, but it is very, very easy to read and understand. See what you did during those streams. And if you can't go back and watch your VODs, what makes you think someone else can?
Thank you. Thank you. Can you say that like one more time, like a little bit louder for the people in the back? Do what? What should you do?
And this is why I say to do this is because, all right, when I first started streaming, I had a microphone, and I once again didn't understand audio or anything like that. And I had an echo. Oh. Let me see here.
I'm trying to get
Sure.
somebody to give me a wheat and
Yeah, how do I
for
accept
tea.
it?
There you go. Oh, you I don't think you have the wheat and the rock.
Oh no, I don't. I don't have the wheat.
Go ahead, take it. I'll take your trees.
Thank you. So when I first started streaming, I had oh yeah, okay. Hold on a second. Oh, so you have to have wait, I can build more houses now.
Can you?
If you trade it out to a city, then you'd have access to your house again.
Oh.
Mhm.
Yeah, okay.
I like that. I like it, Picasso.
Picasso, I like it.
So let me see here. I am gonna do one of those.
Right now, I think we're all close to being tied,
Yeah. I'm trying
which
to
is
dial it in here.
really interesting to me.
This is actually the longest game we've played.
Really?
It's also the closest game we've played.
Yeah.
I've never done this well before. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Typically,
Take that how you
it's
will.
been we around the hour mark. We're close to somebody winning or somebody does win.
I would chalk it
So-
up to being an amazing conversation. Look at you two. So
Yes.
such a great job. Such a great
Thank you. Thank you.
So if you can't the audio thing, so hold on, let me skip my turn here. Oh wait, I can do one of those again. All right. So when I listened back to my audio, I had an echo in it, and I could not figure it out because it didn't really jive with OBS. It was like an actual microphone, and even though it had a USB, it just no bueno. Now I would have never known that, because someone came into my channel and this was my first interaction with a stranger on Twitch. They said, "Hey, you got an echo in your mic," and I said, "Oh, okay. Does this sound better?" Cricket, and they moved
Yeah, they're
on.
already gone.
So
They're gone.
that was my first interaction, and so lovely of an individual on Twitch to be like, "Yep, see ya, peace," which I get now, since I've been doing it. But that hurt my feeling that I had left. Now I have none. and so I was like, "Oh, I get it." Yeah, I can. I don't have any resource. I got like one card. And I listened back, and ooh, it was gross. It was bad, like bad echo. And
Yep.
but that's the other reason is like, and don't be like ashamed or worried. Have like an iPad or your phone up with your own, channel up so you can see, make sure things it's all good. A lot of people, like a lot of streamers do that. They now bigger streamers have like a TV that they have that they can see it. Like if you got a phone or an iPad or whatever, do it that way. Like by all means, do it that way. But listen back to your stream. You don't have to listen to all of it. But like just make sure like cut through the stream just because you don't want to hang out with yourself all day for another 2, 3, 4 hours. But go back to the stream and just kind of like skip through portions and be like, okay. And make clips, like write down the time of when if you don't have anyone that can clip your stuff, write down the time and go back and clip a portion of it that you liked.
That's kind of one of the biggest things I've taken away from some of the, I guess, quote, streamer tips videos is if, go into a random part of your stream and listen for 10 seconds or 15 seconds. That's the amount of time that somebody's going to pop in and see you and decide whether or not you're worth like actually listening to for any amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
And so like, if you don't think it's interesting, like figure out why and do whatever it is that you need to do to make it better.
And I would love to piggyback off of that. I know your limit. Okay.
Right.
Know your limit when you're streaming, because sometimes I'll be playing Apex and 5 hours have gone by, but I really haven't talked for the last 2. Like I'm so like brain dead that I'm not creating a fun environment. I'm just playing the game. And that's, don't do that, by the way. Don't just play the game and not engage with chat.
Don't do
stuff
that.
like because don't do that.
That's there's kind of no reason unless you're a pro player to even be streaming at that point.
Yes. And there are people that are really, really good at it. And by all means, like I get it. But like my limit is about 4 hours, and I drop off very, very sharply from being entertaining after 4 hours. I'm 40. I'm getting old. I want to do other things, but I'm also having a great time playing with my friends. But I know that I drop off heavily after 4 hours. So at 4 hours, it's like it's a dead stop for me. I don't, sometimes if we're winning, I'll go, okay, one more game. But, but who doesn't? And that's how I go about it. So, and that, like I said, that's how I think that more people should be efficient with their time. It's quality and not necessarily quantity.
Absolutely.
I did a 12-hour stream and there was nothing but garbage on it for like 12 hours. I didn't get any clips, really, nothing, but I wanted to do one. It wasn't necessary. It was very, very early on. Like I had been streaming for like 3 months and I was like, I just want to do a 12-hour stream to see how it is, and don't do those. Like, you're not getting anything out of it. You might get a couple extra followers, but I'll be honest with you, the juice is not worth the squeeze, as they say.
Yeah, know your limits. Know when you kind of need to tap out. Like my streams are usually like 2 to 3 hours because that's about like my funny juices run out after a while, and I want to be funny. So 2 to 3 hours, unless again something is really cool is happening, but typically that's where it's at. We are at about an hour and 42 minutes. So we've got a little over 15 minutes left of this particular episode. And I wanted to make sure that I save space and time for you, Dad, to sort of talk about any kind of upcoming events, anything that you have coming up, or just plug your channel. This is your time to just plug your content.
Okay.
And you have the stage.
Yeah, so I recently got asked by the Army to do a charity stream. This will be our second charity stream. We should be coming up in the fall for it. We did one for Games for Love, which was a charity for kids who are stuck doing treatment in hospitals that they can't really get out and go do stuff, which, if you're a kid, not the greatest of time. But this company, Game for Loves, that we did the charity for previously, they take that money from the charity and they buy iPads, they buy Xboxes, they buy online access, they buy PlayStations, they buy Switches. Basically the stuff that would, while they're stuck in a hospital, they can still have interaction with their friends in the outside world, because people can't necessarily come into the hospitals because of the COVID incident. And then we were lucky enough to be asked by the Army for another upcoming charity event for fall. So we're looking forward to that one. We are looking to put on a Apex tournament for small content creators, people who have a lot of fun but aren't necessarily recognized by too many people. I have talked to a big millions, well, probably millions by this point, definitely over 1 million and climbing YouTube content creator. I don't want to flap my gums and name drop or anything like that. So when it comes out, it comes out. Obviously, be looking out for that. Him and I are working on making that tournament work with Respawn and Apex to give a little bit of money to families who might not have that much money for their Christmases, which, Christmas time and family is a big deal. It's not about the presents, but let's be honest, as a kid, it's nice. It's nice to have the presents, and it's nice to have something really nice to open up. We want to give that money to families to be able to provide a little extra for their families. And that's what the Daily Dad is about. It's about being inclusive. It's about it doesn't matter what type of walk of life or hand you've been dealt. Leave that in the past and don't look back at it. Keep moving forward, because you'll be way better off by doing that. I would hope that whoever is watching this, listening to it, hope you come by the stream, give it a chance. I don't want you to just blindly follow. I absolutely want to earn your follow on TikTok, Twitter. YouTube is starting to fire up big time, and on Twitch. So once again, I appreciate it. If you don't mind clicking on the link, giving us a chance and following. You can always unfollow. I don't make any claims that, hey, I'm the best around, but hey, we would really, really appreciate your, giving us a chance.
Well, thank you.
No problem.
And I know you've given a lot of streamer tips, but what is something that you wish you had known at the beginning that now that you would tell a smaller streamer starting out?
Actually, you hit it the nail right on the head at probably the first half an hour. It's a big deal to you because you're going through a difficult time or things aren't working out, but it's not a big deal to a viewer. A viewer who enjoys you and enjoys their content is going to be there. I've had a lot of streams that the internet cuts out. OBS just breaks. Audio isn't working. There will be people, as long as you are believing in your content, there will be people that find you. And I understand that people say that Twitch has no discoverability. I don't necessarily subscribe to that thought. People click on your channel, but you gotta be on all the time. That's why I say it's quality over quantity of hours. All right. When you're streaming, if it's only 2 hours, all right, and you're just starting, it's okay that your OBS breaks. It's okay if you're in it, because it's not a big deal necessarily to the viewer. Right? It's a big deal to you, and you are frustrated and you are flabbergasted and all those other things that, eat at your soul and pick at the back of your brain. But if you can just quiet them down a little bit each day, and having the education of how to fix those things because you put in the work and you watch the YouTube videos, it makes those voices that much quieter. That was really drawn out. Sorry.
No, I love it. I love it.
Content.
I think it's good. It's a podcast. You are the guest.
Yeah.
I would hope that you're talking the most.
Yeah. In all honesty, that is what I would say to people. I'm like, there will be days that really, really suck. It's just like nothing is working. Your internet, your PC, your audio, your visual, something is just gone full blown awry. Just keep the pedal down. Keep the pedal down. Start out with one TikTok a day. Get a Twitter. Ask questions on Twitter. Make people think. I asked one of my friends, Formidable. I said, hey man, I was like, you got it going on Twitter. How did you do it? He goes, I ask questions that make people think, not just ask questions, that yes, no, whatever, but like something that will make somebody think about, I don't quite know how I feel about that. Or make something engaging on your Twitters like, hey, how's your day going? Show me in the form of a GIF. Like, those are my favorites. Like, give me your reaction as a GIF, because there's some really funny ones.
Oh, yeah.
But that's what I would say. I was like, those are the things that I think people should hit harder on. And I think you'd be better off.
And I think that people like to talk about themselves too. So, you ask questions about them or things that are specific to them.
Yes.
That gets a lot of interaction.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
This game is so close right now.
I know.
I'm waiting for the bell to ding and tell me that somebody's hit 10 points.
I just built another city. How did I not get another point? I don't understand.
Did you not get another point?
I don't think so. Unless I was at 7? Maybe I was at 7.
You might have been.
You were at 7.
I was at 7. Okay, gotcha. Okay.
We were all sitting at 7. Now we're creeping up to, somebody's going to hit it. And I hope it's me for the first time.
I got to play my cards right here, I think.
It's just neck and neck right now.
I know.
8, 7, 8. And then if somebody's holding any kind of like point cards.
Now, Funky, you jumped out to a hot start. You were the rabbit. Like, you were like at 5 before I knew it. I was like, I'm in trouble.
I'm a little nervous right now.
He's silent but deadly, much like a fart.
That's right.
I am the embodiment of a fart. Clip that, please.
Let me hit my clip pedal here. I'll just there. Okay.
Got him. Oh.
What?
Oh.
Let's go.
Oh, nice job.
Are you kidding me?
Wait, all 8?
This is crap.
Okay, so I do have a question. How do you get an army? How do you do the army thing?
You roll
the
them
army
as
thing,
7s or something?
Yeah, no, it's when you get the card that is for the robber. And you place 3 robbers and you get largest army or whatever. And then if you get more than that, you get more than that.
Gotcha. Okay. See, learning something new about this game every time.
I was so nervous. I was like,
so sneaky.
I have this one card
I was so
that will
close.
give me 2 cards. and they'll give me 2 rocks, and then I have 4 trees, and I take 2 of those trees and make that into a rock, and take the other 2 trees and make that into a wheat, and then I
gotta
make a
get
big
an
house.
abacus for this.
And then I was like sweating bullets. You guys were talking, and I was like, oh, I gotta figure this out.
I've noticed that if he's not talking, he's probably winning, and that's not great.
Yeah.
So we need to just get him talking more.
Oh, man, what do I got to do here?
He gets real quiet because he's like calculating where everything's going to be at. But yeah, good game, guys.
The closest game we've ever played, I think.
Yes.
Longest and closest. That was a good game.
That was a very good game. It was a better conversation, though. Thank you guys very, very much. Good
conversation. We are almost at the 2-hour mark, and I want to be respectful of everybody's time. So I just want to say, Dad, thank you so much for agreeing to be on the podcast and hanging out with us today and giving us your most valuable resource aside from sheep, your time.
Thank you very much.
I found you on TikTok. I thought that your tips were really great. I love the way that you presented yourself. I usually lurk in your streams in the morning, and you're really positive energy. Your Discord's set up really nicely, and I look up to you and respect you a lot and what you're doing in the platform and in other places. So yes, here's some validation for you. You're welcome. It's what I do. This is really to boost.
I very, very much appreciate it. It's, I've done interviews in the past, and it's always, I'm always in such awe, like someone that asks me to do these. And I'm always so incredibly thankful to be a part of these, because this is one thing I never thought like the Daily Dad would be. And I actually enjoy, more than commentating on Apex, game clips. I enjoy interviewing so much. It is just a lot of fun. I just can't be thankful enough. So I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, this is something we're very proud of, and we've had a lot of fun with it. We've met a lot of really awesome people, and it's just cool. It's just cool to be able to talk with people and play like a casual game of Catan, whatever.
Yeah, Catan.
With folks that we've met and seen on the platform, and it's been really nice, and it just reinstills the idea that we're all human, and nobody is unapproachable or inaccessible, and it's been really great. You're really fun, and I'm really glad that you decided to come on. Yes, I'm glad that I shot my shot, and
right.
You came on, and I just really appreciate it. And Funky, I don't know if you have any last things you want to say before we put the pressure on Dad to pick somebody to raid out to on this Saturday, gonna be afternoon.
The only thing I guess I could say is that you didn't get last.
I didn't.
Second place. I know it was a very close game, but you've been so focused on not being last, and you made it.
I did.
I'm very proud of you.
Yes. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Also, thank you, Dad, for being on the podcast. Really appreciate you.
Oh, absolutely.
And look forward to seeing more of your content on YouTube, especially.
Thank you. Yeah, we've been trying to hit the YouTube really, really hard. I've really enjoyed it. I think I can do a lot more help. Provide a lot more help to people, do a lot more for communities just in general as the YouTube channel grows. Because still to this day, even though Twitch is a ton of fun, YouTube is king. But live streaming, Twitch is where it's at. Long content, YouTube, and short content, TikTok. And that's why you want to diversify your content as much as possible. But yeah, I can't explain how thankful I am to have these opportunities. So once again, thanks to both of you.
Well, and maybe in, a little time down the road, maybe you'll have another shot at maybe winning.
I would love not only a chance to win, but I would love another opportunity to come on here and do a, hey, how's it been since last time?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you ever need anybody on Apex to boost your stats and make you look really good, I've played Apex twice.
Yeah. I used to love Apex. It was a long time ago, and I used to play it a ton. And I have yet to make my return. But
come on back. Maybe. Hey, send me I call them friend requests, but I don't know what they're called, requests anymore. Send me one. I accept requests all the time from just about anybody and everybody. If I recognize just a couple letters in the name, I'm like, oh yes, accept.
Oh yeah.
Excellent.